there's a lot of beauty to be seen in northern Indiana. While it doesn't have dramatic hills and tons of caves like southern Indiana, it does have a special appeal. For me, it's the unusual museums, places that make you say, I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. These places have curiosities you just don't see everywhere else. In fact, I'd say they've practically cornered the market on unusual. Come along for an adventure as we visit 10 unusual museums of northern Indiana. Starting off strong, we arrive at Valparaiso, Indiana, home of the famous popcorn guy, Orville Redenbacher. The Porter County Museum is pretty small, but it hits above its weight on the unusual factor. There are lots of artsy things and local history. But my attention quickly shifted to the dog. This is not a model, this is the real deal, named Daisy. As the story goes, Daisy was hit by a car in the early 1930s, suffering an untimely end. The owners did what any loving family would do. They had the dog stuffed for posterity. For roughly 40 years, Daisy adorned the family home until 1974. It was then donated to the Porter County Museum. Some family heirlooms are harder to give away than others. This is one of them. The LaPorte County Museum has not only a grand building for its collection, but one of the most extensive ones in the state. If you have time, this place could easily take up a day. It's an extensive walk through history. Don't knock it, styles just keep coming back. Ah, the price of beauty. And a place where everyone knows your name. But probably the police do too. This reminds me, I need to schedule a cleaning. Lots of collectible cars. From the old-timey to classic cars. Cars of the future. To a DeLorean. If the flux capacitor worked, I would go back in time and change lots of stuff. I bet you would too. The good news is the statute of limitations. And there were no cell phone cameras during my youth. You can't prove anything. They're very proud of their large antique firearms collection. If you live in southern Indiana, it's maybe half the size of your grandpa's collection. Very Mad Max looking, if you ask me. But this is all just a warm-up. The standout thing is the Belle Gunness exhibit. To my knowledge, it's the only one in Indiana dedicated to a serial killer. To keep this very high level in PG-13, she bought life insurance policies, and thereafter, these people mysteriously died. If they got on her bad side, they would suffer the same fate. This included several husbands. She can be tied to at least 14 people, but the count may be as high as 40. Over the years, many bodies have been found on her property. She just sort of has that try me and find out look. With the law on her trail, she allegedly faked her own death in a house fire. For sure, she was never seen again. This is a tale of warning to those of you who file complaints with their homeowners association. You never really know who you're dealing with. At South Bend is the newest museum in the state, the Indiana Dinosaur Museum, and it is quite the experience. Employees are friendly, no great dinosaur jokes, and totally hype up their presentation. If you're a fan of the Jurassic Park movies, you'll get a kick out of this one. You start at a containment room where you're warned about dangerous dinosaurs. Inside, you'll see a short movie about the world you're about to experience. The gate opens, and you're immersed in a world of dinosaurs. You're free to explore at your own pace, and they have some pretty great things to see. There are lots of examples why it's a good thing that they were gone long before we came along. Absolute nightmare fuel. There's a room where they're hatching dinosaurs, allegedly. There's a room where they had Jurassic Park movie props. And a place where kids can dig for dinosaur bones. If the kids are good at digging, bring the truck. At Elkhart is the Recreational Vehicle Museum. Your first thought may be, why just why? But you would be amazed at what's behind the doors. This is a large museum that was kind of mind-blowing. It covers high-end coaches, good enough for a rock star. Or you, if you have the money. This would absolutely do. I just need $500,000 and some gas money. It has some of the very earliest recreational vehicles. And in most cases, you can take a walkthrough. Roughing it wasn't always that bad. In fact, many of these are quite cozy. With the addition of modern highways, recreational vehicles made experiencing America a true adventure. And with places like these, you never had to pack a suitcase. Many people today are selling all they have and living like nomads in either mid-sized RVs or custom vans. All things old are new again. You can walk through vintage mobile homes back when they were shiny and new. or those of the future placed on your land in a day. You've got problems, they have solutions. There's even an exhibit about modular designs for space. I did not expect all of this goodness in one place. Truly, a unique museum. When you think of Amish people, you think of simple folks, without electricity or technology. But a museum at Shipshewana is about to change all of that. At the Menno-Hof Museum, you go on a multimedia experience about the Amish. And spoiler alert, it's pretty epic. It starts with a film describing the good people with horse-powered buggies, the ones that wear clothes like they're living in the 1800s. But you are about to have your mind blown. You're led into a room where lights and sound surround you. A story is told about religious beliefs and how the Amish way of life started in Europe. Once complete, the door opens and you enter what looks like a European church. This is way more technology than I ever expected from guys that wear straw hats. The door then opens to a dungeon. Sitting in the dark, the lights and sound tell about religious persecution that led to migration to America. There's a torture rack to the left, but nothing graphic. And in the pit, a woman that refused to reject her beliefs. The door then opens to a brick-lined street of exhibits. This includes a ship made to represent the journey to North America. It then opens to a room with displays about Amish and Mennonite people today. Probably the most impressive is the tornado room. You get to experience what it feels like to be in a tornado. The lesson here, no matter what natural disaster, the Amish come together and rebuild. In some cases, building an entire barn in just a day. And finally, a church. A short film pulls together what you've seen and experienced. You exit to an Amish house. And an exhibit about humility, including washing each other's feet. But the thing that really stuck with me was the story of Dirk Willems. He was being chased down for his religious beliefs. He was getting away before the guy following him fell into an icy river. He turned around and saved the man from drowning. Nevertheless, Dirk was thrown in jail and later burned to death in Holland. By far, Menno-Hof is much more than I ever expected. As you drive across northern Indiana, you will see tons of windmills. These stretch for many miles and are extremely impressive. I guess it's only natural that there be a windmill museum at Kendallville, the Mid-America Windmill Museum. Built on several acres, you can walk through an outdoor presentation of the many types of vintage windmills. Believe it or not, I know someone with a fear of windmills. This is likely not their cup of tea. But to someone out there, your destination has arrived. Up at Fort Wayne is the Allen County Museum. I came here for a specific purpose: seeing ancient Indiana artifacts. They really do have a nice collection. They also have exhibits about Allen County history. But the basement is the unexpected part. At one point in history, Fort Wayne was called the most lawless town in Indiana. You'll see law enforcement artifacts, but turn a corner and you are in an actual jail and processing center going back to the 1930s. It does have the creepy factor and the essence of former prisoners. If you like, you can go in a cell and pretend you're all gangster. Hopefully, the bars won't lock behind you. It would make for a long night, guaranteed. Peru, Indiana has not one but 3 curious museums, starting with the Grome Air Museum. Just like the movie Close Encounters, it's like UFOs abducted aircraft and placed them here, as if they were brand new. Over multiple acres, you can walk among some of the coolest aircraft ever built. And if you're not afraid of heights, you can climb the tower for a bird's eye view. Inside the building, you can hop into a trainer for a Top Gun picture. The only question is, Iceman or Maverick? From the time I was a kid, I knew that Peru had a circus, but I did not know that they had a circus museum. Out in the country, they have the International Circus Hall of Fame. Most of the exhibits are in one very large barn. there are glamorous circus outfits. Hey lady, we're trying to do a family show here. There's an impressive circus diorama. Many relics. Including beautiful circus coaches. They were built to attract attention in parades preceding shows under the big top. There's even an adjacent building filled with even more coaches. Once upon a time, the circus was huge entertainment, and this place keeps that spirit alive. At Peru's Miami County Museum, there's not only a floor dedicated to the circus, but items that are easier to show than explain. The first floor is basically dedicated to Cole Porter, the famous Indiana musician that wrote the song Anything Goes. It was featured in the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. They even have his car. There are Native American artifacts, a large firearm collection, and on the second floor, a small city to explore window fronts. But the top floor is all circus and home to some very cool things. These are the coveralls of Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in recorded history. At 8 feet 11 inches tall, you just don't find those on the rack at Walmart. Very picture-worthy. The circus artifacts are extensive. But one item stands out more than the rest. This is the skull of a homicidal elephant that killed his trainer here at Peru. Some people would just dig a ditch and bury the past behind them. But no, let's set an example to other elephants that crime doesn't pay. Hot weather, cold weather, and everything in between. There's always something interesting at the museums of Northern Indiana.